Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Nice to see you again in our program. Today we shall be talking about a great, important and interesting topic. How will the new world look like, the human society of the future? We had already said our task is to build a new step of evolution. That means creating out of ourselves the new man and out of the surrounding circumstances the new world. In both cases, we are concerned with the rule of the Spirit. The Divine Spirit is to rule both our individual thinking and acting, as well as the coexistence and cooperation within human society as a whole. We have emphasized in earlier broadcastings again and again, the individual human being can and must continue to perfect himself and proceed on his spiritual path independently of the material circumstances. But it is equally true. You can realize your possibilities to a limited extent only when you are forced to live in a society dominated by materialism and lack of spirit. In a social order characterized by egotism and greed, by the fight of everyone against everyone, in which the law of the jungle prevails, a spiritual man can only stand aside and is hardly able to make a valuable contribution. Let us just take today's order of economy and labor. My father used to say when he left the house in the morning, "I am going to serve." He meant, of course, the service to the common good. Who can say that today? Are not most of us engaged in their professions, even in the so-called social professions, to promote selfish, destructive, profit or party interests? Today's materialistic order deprives the best we have to give, our work, of its meaning. You all are experiencing daily how difficult it is to have to live in a community with materialistically minded people. To have an unspiritual boss, to have your children raised and educated the wrong way by unspiritual teachers, to be governed by unspiritual politicians, to purchase products made by unspiritual manufacturers, and to have to take part in the projects of unspiritual people. Everywhere and constantly we are making ourselves guilty. Therefore, we must establish a new social order, a higher culture, in which the will of God reigns. Only there can our higher nature, our eternal individuality, live and work meaningfully and in accordance with its mission. Man must get back under the guidance of the divine laws, which, he feels, were really made for his higher evolution. All times dream of the establishment of the kingdom of God on earth. That is, of an order which corresponds to the conditions in the higher world, and in which the cosmic laws apply. State laws, in order to serve the vital interests, should reflect the cosmic laws. We humans have a deep longing to restore the paradise conditions that prevail in our true homeland, from which we have been temporarily exiled to this cold earth. I entreat you to help build my country. Establishing the rule of the Spirit means, as we have already discussed in detail, to enforce the reign of higher principles, such as truth, justice, beauty, and love. If these principles actually govern our lives, we have created the highest world we can imagine. In concrete terms, this means in government has to prevail the hierarchical principle. In the legal system, justice. In the media, truth. And in the arts, beauty, etc. We shall show you now how the consistent application of these principles completely changes human society. We had already said, evolution is the plan of God with man, the earth, and cosmos as a whole. It is of the utmost importance that you understand. When we now begin to create the new world, our aim is to enforce the will of God against the violent resistance of materialism, ignorance, egotism, disbelief, and lack of spirit. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. If man would take the great seed of the task in his potential, then, indeed, the world would be a great reflection of the higher will. For this, we must first form a clear idea of how the new step looks like in God's will. Without a construction plan, no building, no new creation can ever be realized. He who would truly benefit his kind should endeavor to realize somewhat of the divine plan, the plan in the mind of God, and work toward the materialization of that plan. One must acknowledge the goal and devote oneself to the plan of the teacher. We must develop such an idea for every single social institution, according to the example of Plato's great work, The Republic. That is why we shall be talking today and in the next broadcastings about the government, the economic and labor regulations, the legal system, the health system, science, agriculture, schools, media, army and police, churches, arts, and marriage and family. Let the country of the future be embodied in thought. The mission to build the new world must occupy us every single day. We should strive to contribute at least one stone to the new creation every day. Think every day about the tasks that the new world poses. Strive to the new world as if it were something standing right on the other side of the door. Nobody should just leave it to others to take care of the new world, since every one of us has to grasp what it means. The organization of the government must be consistent with the cosmic order, the cosmic laws. All statecraft and social order can be founded upon cosmic law. Therefore, the state and the social order could apply all the cosmic laws for the perfection of their forms. The law of hierarchy is applicable. The entire universe is saturated with the principle of hierarchy. Therefore, man, being a part of cosmos, cannot separate himself from this principle. The hierarchic principle appears as the basis of all constructions, the guiding principle, and the principle of fulfilling the great will are one source. The symbol of hierarchy is the pyramid. All power emanates from the top. Each individual intermediate level is orientated upwards. Every single little stone has its meaning and function only through its incorporation into the great structure. The idea of hierarchy is a cosmic concept, a cosmic law. The whole universe exists, is nourished, and is supported solely by this principle. Precisely, in cosmos, the lower principle is subordinated to the higher. The law of hierarchy demands, firstly, he who stands lower must subordinate himself to those standing higher. This is the only way to arrive at a meaningful order. If those rule who stand down below, chaos will reign. The subjection of the lower to the higher lies at the foundation of cosmos. The subordination of the lower to the higher leads to purification. Humanity subjects that which should be dominant to the lower. When the higher dominates, then the lower, through transmutation, is regenerated into equality of a higher order. Hierarchy means, secondly, every single social institution, from families, kindergartens and schools, to authorities, courts, associations and business enterprises, to villages, cities and the whole country, must be directed by that person who is spiritually the most qualified, who stands highest on the ladder of hierarchy. He is placed under his superior, who in turn serves under his superior, and so forth, upwards to the rulers of a country and to the leaders of the earth. This is the earthly hierarchy. It makes sure that the will of the earth's leaders, the Mahatmas, is transmitted from the top downwards, from one level to the next. In the end, at the bottom, on the spot, in the case of the slightest treatment of a school child or of a citizen seeking justice or health, with building a house, the condemnation of a criminal, or even the preparation of a meal, in all cases the supreme will is observed and enforced. The Mahatmas cannot possibly carry out or even supervise themselves all the acts of daily work. They have to rely on the earthly hierarchy to act in accordance with their instructions and in their spirit in the countless individual cases of everyday life. We must understand the earthly hierarchy as an unbroken chain in which each co-worker at his place takes up the higher will, carries out some of it himself, and delegates other tasks downwards for execution by subordinates. Each one striving to hierarchy can fulfill the higher will through a task given from above. According to the law of correspondence, the higher will is not revealed to the masses, but to the supreme spirits only, namely the rulers of the earth, the Mahatmas of Shambhala, and their closest collaborators. Only they can lead mankind. They form the peak of the earthly hierarchy. The peaks of the earthly hierarchy, for their part, are connected to the lowest levels of the supermundane hierarchy. They must make sure that the divine will, transmitted from the very top through many intermediate levels, actually arrives down here on our planet. The higher will is transmitted to the closest spirit. You now recognize the great importance of the spiritual conversation with a non-incarnated teacher, which we discussed in our broadcasting about meditation. The Mahatmas, in any case, only have this way of communication when they want to receive instructions from their superiors on how to govern the earth. Let us summarize. The hierarchical order of the state serves this purpose. The divine will is to be transmitted from the top of the pyramid through many intermediate steps, from the supermundane hierarchy to the top of the earthly hierarchy. From there, it is handed further downwards through an unbroken chain of hierarchs. Finally, it is put into practice in the countless actions of everyday life. Each link in this chain at its place is acting by order of the hierarchy and ultimately in the name of God.